Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good morning to each and every one of you. Hit the like buttons and make sure you are subscribing to the Done Deal show this morning. Big shout out to our title sponsors, StocksFC, and it's really heating up over there. Now, the season has begun. If you haven't signed up to your account yet, go and get it done. And we know we've announced the winner. I'm not going to say who the person is because we can't for data protection. But if you want to announce yourself in the comment section, who won the signed ball from Trent Alexander-Arnold, one of our users, we're very, very happy that happened. But go check out StocksFC now. It's an amazing website, as you can see here. An amazing platform for really putting your money where your mouth is when it comes to your players. And a quick look here. I haven't actually looked at it myself this morning, but at my portfolio, I'm quite happy. Around £400 of profit so far, 16 pounds earned in rewards. And listen, one of my investments, which I'm quite happy with, when I scroll down, where is he? Where is my guy? Why can't I see him on here? Must have gone past him. There he is, Kanate. Already got almost £3 of the 16 I invested back in him already. So doing very, very well indeed. But more on StocksFC later in the show. Later in the show, we'll go through that a little bit more. Some big transfer stories today. We're looking at Chelsea having offered Ben Chilwell to Manchester United. I want to get your thoughts and feelings on that. We're looking at Newcastle, and Luke Edwards here from the Telegraph has stated that Newcastle and Palace are edging towards an agreement for Marc Guehi. This is after Palace stating they were probably not going to do this. And we're also looking at Moreno. It is believed, there are reports today from Spain that today will be the day that he becomes an Arsenal player. But I wanted to start with a different Arsenal story. And this one kind of took me a little bit aback last night when I read it. And it states that Arsenal are prepared to offer a proposal worth 50 million plus bonuses, rising up to around 65 million for Ademola Lookman, with the possibility of including Kivior in the deal. Now, this is according to a number of reports coming out of Italy. Now, Liverpool also said to be in the background of this deal as well. So make of that what you will. But reports that Arsenal will look toward the deal worth up to 65 million euros for Lookman. Now, I want to get your initial reaction to that, because yesterday, a lot of Arsenal fans scoffed at the Italian press for their news that Arsenal could move for Victor Osimhen. But what of this story? We know that a number of reports have suggested that Arsenal will not move for a number 9, will not move for a direct like-for-like replacement for Eddie Nketiah in terms of positionally. But could there be the possibility here that Arsenal make this move for Lookman? Someone that can come in and play on the left, someone that could potentially operate on the right, gives them an extra firepower and strength in depth in the wide positions. Now, there have been some Italian outlets that have already sort of come out and said, well, we've heard different. We've heard that Lookman is going to stay at Atalanta, that he will not be coming to Arsenal. So for full disclosure, there's a number of different stories kind of circulating in relation to this. But I would love to ascertain, and I would love to gain your views and your opinions on this story. Leave us your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below if you're watching the playback. But if you are watching us live, get it in the comment section now. We want to hear from you. I want to know what you think, want to know what you feel, want to know what your opinions are on this potential deal. Let us know now. My personal thoughts on this are, and I want to kind of make sure that I'm being as fair as I possibly can. I'm not, look, the last couple of seasons, Lookman has started to bag some goals. In Serie A, I think I'm going to probably get the numbers slightly off, because I looked yesterday very briefly, 15 and 18 goals in all competitions, respectively. And someone saying Lookman might stay. Yeah, I've just mentioned that news. And he has done well. And he started to improve, and this man scored a hat-trick in a European Cup final, and I don't think you can ignore that. I think technically there is a lot of ability there. I think there's a good quality player in him. But is he good enough for the Premier League? When he was here, he really didn't look the part. He really didn't have the moments. He really didn't appear to have the ability to grab the Premier League by the scruff of the neck and dominate. Joining an Arsenal, it means he's going to be playing against more low blocks. He's going to have less space to operate in. So is he going to be the needle mover? And I do believe that Arsenal need a needle mover. Now, Don Arsenal TV here says Arsenal are not in for Lookman, Terry. But again, who has stated this? And I think some outlets say you are, some outlets say you're not. So I don't think any of us right now, unless Arsenal Football Club make a statement, I don't think any of us can categorically say that. Is this, Don, I threw this question out last night. Is this you clinging to the stories that suit your desire more so than being open-minded, dispassionate, and unbiased on these stories? What we're here to talk about is, would you like him or not? That is what fans have always done when it comes to transfers. So let's have that conversation, please. Big up to yourself, Manes, as well. Duplessis, hope you are good. And by the way, let us know where you're watching from around the world in the comments section. I'd love to know where people are tuning in this morning, whether it's London, whether it's New York, whether it is Sydney, Australia, whether it is Lagos. I don't care, but let me know. I do care because I want to know where you are. So let us know in the comments section below. Don here says, technically, he's better than Martinelli and more of a goal threat, though. So would you take him, Don? I'd love to get your opinions on that. Let's have a little look here at some more of your comments. I hope you're doing good, Matt. I hope you're doing well. Terry, Chilwell can do one. Look, I have seen this story as well today, and we will touch on it this morning. Ben Chilwell to Manchester United. And look, we had Ches and the boys in our group chat. They showed their bum. They really showed their bum yesterday in our group chat. Hurry up. They tagged me, tagged KJ, tagged Neeks. Hurry up, guys. We need more of your money. I think it was a moment where you realize that some of the guys who have pretended there's no financial concerns whatsoever at Chelsea are like, please give us your money. We need it, right? I don't see this one happening. I don't see Ben Chilwell becoming a Manchester United player. And that's not a hopium. That isn't a, oh my God, please. I don't even think he's that bad a football player. He's got an injury record as long as your arm. I don't think he's that bad a football player. If he was fit, I definitely would take him as a backup to Luke Shaw. I would. But it's the fitness levels as to why I don't personally want him at Manchester United. Technically, as a footballer, very, very good. But I don't see it happening. And this story is really interesting how this story has kind of been twisted by people. This isn't Man United making an inquiry. This isn't Man United talking to his agent. This isn't Man United phoning up Chelsea and saying, what's up? What's happening with Chilwell? This is Chelsea contacting Man United saying, do you want to buy him? So this is very much Chelsea trying to sell players as opposed to Manchester United trying to get him. Oh, my hands up. We wanted Mason Mount. We made a move for him. There's a fundamental difference in that. Chelsea tried to keep him. Chelsea tried to offer him new deals. Chelsea begged him to stay, but he picked Manchester United. This is a very different scenario indeed. This is a player that isn't wanted by Chelsea and that Chelsea are trying to sell to Manchester United. The way I've read some of the headlines today, the way some of the story is being perceived by some people, it's like Man United are doing the chasing. I don't personally see it happening. I hope it doesn't happen. I would much rather give Harry Amas opportunities in game time this year when Luke Shaw isn't fit. We've got Masawari who can play on that left-hand side, and I hope that's where he plays when we take on Brighton on Saturday, which, by the way, will all be being previewed today on the Football Terrace, the Top 6 show, live 5 p.m. So make sure that each and every single one of you are all there. And as Denton says here, Denton Dixon, he's a sick-no. And Nelly says he's an injury merchant, and he is. And that's my only real reason for not wanting him. If there was a magic wand and he wasn't going to get all these injuries, I'd take Chilwell at the right price. I think technically he's good. But the injuries are a massive, massive concern. So, yeah, I don't see that one happening. I've seen the ban. I know that some Chelsea fans are desperate for us to buy him. They really, really need them. We know they need the money. We know Chelsea need the money. They've invested loads. They've got to keep selling. They've sold a lot. They've got to keep selling and selling and selling because they are sailing very, very close to that PSR wind indeed. Sean says he's got a bad attitude. Has he got a bad attitude? I don't know about that. That's genuine. Someone would have to give me the details on that. I've never really heard that he's got a bad attitude personally. Krishna here with a super chat says, we've had Edu and Arteta for a long time, and almost all of Arteta's signings are a success. Lookman might have a bad season before, but I trust them. I think 65 million is high. 45 to 50 million with add-ons is cap. Look, I think it's an interesting one. And thank you very much for the super chat. I feel with Lookman, I'm really on the fence with him. My gut feeling tells me it will work. My gut feeling, but then we've got to define what working means, right? What does working as a transfer mean? Well, I think he can keep some of your first team out of their positions if he performs well. I think he'll be a massive upgrade on the Nketiahs and the Reece Nelsons coming on from the bench. I believe he's better than those individuals. That's why the price is key. 65 million, you're talking about a starter. You're talking about somebody who is... You're talking about somebody who you're looking at as a prominent figure of your first 13 to 14 players. You start going down nearer the 40-odd million mark in the modern day world, that is more of a good squad player, which I think would reflect the overarching quality of him. But I get what you're saying, Christian. You trust Edu and you trust Arteta. Most of their big money signings have worked. In my opinion, I'm actually going to look at that, actually. Let me just go and have a quick check, right? I want to go and check this. Just bear with me 1 second because I've got to reconnect my phone. Because stupidly, I put it on. It was nearly dead this morning, so I put it onto airplane mode to charge it up. But then you've got to turn it back on again, don't you? So let me just go and have a look here at all Arsenal transfers. Okay, let's have a little look at this. Just go through and just be objective about this now. So I'm going to say all major signings are £25 million and over. Top of my head, I'm going to say £25 million. Actually, let's do it lower. Let's do £20 million and above. So last year, we won't do this season. They haven't kicked the ball yet. We can do Raya. David Raya success at 31 million. Let's have a little look here. Declan Rice success. Kai Havertz, I would say so far is a success. Timber, no, you wouldn't call Timber a success right now because he hasn't played enough. But the jury's out still. Go to the previous season to that. Gabriel Jesus. I think you would say, I'm going to say success, but you've outgrown him already. I think Arsenal got to a level they didn't expect to be so quickly. Zinchenko so Gabriel Jesus was 42 million, success of 42 million. Zinchenko, 26 million pounds, success. Fabio Vieira, also 26 million pounds. I would say that one, you'd say isn't a success, to be fair. So that's one that isn't. Go to the previous season. Ben White, success. Odegaard, success. Ramsdale, success. Tomiyasu wasn't over 20. There we go. And I don't think he signed anybody else that's over 20 million. He didn't sign. Did he sign Thomas Partey? Or was that the season before? Let's just say he did. Thomas Partey, success. Ironically, Gabriel was actually under 20 million pounds, but he's a success. So, yeah. You look at most of those significant signings have been a success at Arsenal. So, yeah, I agree. I agree with this super chat 100%, objectively speaking. Oh, I do. Right, let's have a little look here at some more of your comments that have come through since we have been live. By the way, if you haven't hit the like button yet, get that done, people. Get hitting the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. Matt here says, I love Lookman because I think that'll add extra depth. I don't see us going for him, to be honest. It looks like he'll be staying at Atalanta due to the club offering him a big new contract. I understand where you're coming from there, Matt. What are your sources telling you? I mean, your sources have been pretty wrong about everything this year, though, Matt, haven't they? Like, Matt, you talk. I remember you saying in the group chat, like about 6 months ago, your sources are like 100% accurate. What are you saying this summer? This is the same guy that said, I don't listen to Fabrizio. He chats nonsense. My sources are legit. This is Matt's a great, funny guy. He really, really is. In other news today, Luke Edwards. Now, Luke Edwards, a credible and respected journalist, has stated here that I've tried to stay away from offering a running commentary on this. But according to my lovely colleague, Mike McGrath, Newcastle and Palace are edging towards an agreement on Marc Guehi. Now, I think this is a really interesting deal. Firstly, a lot of people said after Anderson's deal to Everton, Fulham, was essentially agreed, Palace couldn't sell anybody else. But according to the Telegraph and according to sources very close to Newcastle, this isn't the case. And Guehi could be on his way to play for the Toon Army, which is really interesting because how no one's come in yet for Eze is great. Everyone knows Eze won't be sold because they've already sold Elise. But you've got to think Elise, okay, Guehi, Anderson could all be gone from this team before the window shuts. That is devastating for Crystal Palace. Also, I'm not trying to dig here at Newcastle. Guehi is the type of player that Chelsea need. Guehi is a kind of centre-back I think that Liverpool maybe need to look at. I think he's the type of centre-back that Spurs, I think is an upgrade for the majority of the top six. Great signing for Newcastle. Really, really is a great sign. We saw him at the Euros just look absolutely cool, calm, collected. He looked every bit part of that level. He really, really did. I thought we had an excellent Euros. And listen, if Newcastle pull this off, as per these reports, that is an excellent, excellent piece of business. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. Sean here says we need a left-footed centre-back more. I understand, but I am of the belief that in the modern-day game, most of our centre-backs now are so talented on the ball, I don't think it really matters if they're on the left or right-hand side. We're not talking about the era of the Jamie Carragers, the era of the Sammy Hippiers. Most footballers are so comfortable now going left, going right, especially centre-backs. There we go. Kingsley here says, if Chelsea sell 1,200 players and sign Osimhen. Listen, Osimhen, they need to go and get him, or they need somebody of that ilk, Chelsea. There's no doubt about it. Chelsea need him. Chelsea must sign him. Chelsea have to get that over the line. Absolutely, 110%. They have got to do it. Breaking news here regarding Man United. It says, this is from L'Equipe, and they have stated that Manuel Ugarte to Man United could be finalized in the next hours. The agreement of the loan with obligation to buy is 60 million. For 60 million is set to be agreed, and the positions of both clubs has become very close. And as I said last night, look, we'll wait and see what the final price is. For me, what's more important now is bringing this individual player in. We got them down from their original 70 million euros they wanted. We haven't quite got them as low as we would have liked, but we've ended up meeting in the middle. That compromise is there, which, in fairness to L'Equipe, in fairness to Fabrice Hawkins, they've always stated and been very fair. The French media has been very fair in this deal in terms of their reporting. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited about the prospect. I hope it gets done today. I just don't think he's going to be here in time to play on Saturday, which is a little gutting. However, the next game we have is Liverpool. And I think we're going to need him in the team. I think we need him in that midfield for that game. Liverpool are a tough side to beat. So, yes, very, very, very excited indeed for him to become a Manchester United player. Yeah, I saw that Ronaldo made a YouTube channel. And do you know what's really funny? I don't like the word influencer for people like me. I never refer to myself as an influencer. Maybe if I'm doing a pitch to a sponsor, we have to write those kind of words, but I always feel a bit icky and magoo. In general life, if people say, what do I do for a living? I might say YouTuber. I still find that a bit icky, but I never say I'm an influencer. I find that word, generally speaking, putrid, because Ronaldo's an influencer. Ronaldo went from 0 to 16 million followers on YouTube. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps going. He'll probably end up being the biggest YouTuber in the world, which is just amazing. So that's what I call an influencer in my humble. It's up to 17 million now. Wow, fair play to him. That's because he's a GOAT. Matt here says, not going to lie, Ugarte to Manchester United. Sorry, Ugarte is a very, very good player. I think he massively improves United as a whole and could be the difference. When you say difference between what? You've got to specify that for us, Matt. Between United getting top four and not. Sorry, my apologies. I should have carried on reading. That's my fault. But business-wise, 60 million, I'm not sure, to be honest. Well, I think you've answered your own question there, though. So 60 million euros, you're doing the typical anti-United thing. It's 51 million pounds. If you think, this is what you've got to answer. You've answered your own point. If he's the difference between us getting back into the Champions League, which financially is worth 150 odd million pounds, if you're saying don't sign him because we're spending 8 million pounds more than you think he's worth, that don't make sense if he's the difference. If he's the difference between the prize of the Champions League, making our team Champions League level, and the money that comes with it, surely in your eyes, he's worth the money because he's the difference. How can he be the difference? How can he be the difference between that level of success and not be worth the extra little bit of money? I feel like you've answered your own. I think you've almost answered your own comment there, Matt, in that way. And I do also think he's a very, very, very good player indeed. In fact, we've got some stats to show on it a little bit later on the Football Terrace. So make sure you're all back here at, what time is it? It's 5 p.m. today, because obviously Chelsea play later tonight. We are all here for the Chelsea cookings. Look, I think we're all here for every team getting cooked when things go wrong. That is what we're here for. And we enjoy it and we love it. And it's why I created the first of its kind, the Football Terrace. Multiple teams being discussed on a singular channel. The fact is, even there are channels now that still by their name and by their setup are specifically based around United or Arsenal, but they do what we do. And I love that. Especially when I first started doing it, I was told this wouldn't work. Now everybody does what we do here. And I love that. Absolutely brilliant. It's great for the industry. So we're all here for it. But by the way, Chelsea are going to win today. Chelsea are going to win by a landslide, in my humble opinion. Yes, Chelsea play tonight. Yes, they play tonight in the Conference League. Come on, Matt. Where you been? The Conference League tonight. Surely you can't be a GOAT. Surely you can't be a GOAT. It has to be the GOAT. Well, let me rephrase it. So I think a GOAT refers to one of the greatest of all time. We're the GOAT. Because, do you know what I'm saying? So he's a GOAT. There's no doubt. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the greatest footballers and sportsmen of all time. Just is. Ian Graham, in his book, said transfers generally have a 50-50 chance of success if all 8 parameters are taken seriously. What are the 8 parameters, Sean? Just so I can understand that. But only signing players better than your first team can increase that chance. Yeah, I agree. And that's why, again, this is, sometimes people do this. I've seen people do it with their managers they don't like. They say, we've only been successful in 16% of the tournaments because they add up the tournaments each year and how many they've won. Which sometimes those stats sound damning. But then what you have to start doing is cross-referencing that, looking at the most successful percentages ever, the worst percentages ever, and then the medium. And then you can work out whether 16%, 20%, 30%, 50% is good. Do you know what I'm saying? Same as when you start looking at, oh my God, my manager's only got like a 60% success rate on signings. Well, first of all, you've got to define what you consider to be success. Then you've got to apply that logic across all the other managers, contemporary and historically, to work out whether it's good or bad. Sometimes, and I always bring this back to, there was a stat that got put out about Paul Pogba years ago that he walked on the pitch for 20 minutes. Some Man United fans went mental. My first question, still to this day, hasn't been answered 5, 6, 7 years later. But what's everybody else's walking stats? We can't understand whether Pogba's was good or bad without knowing the data surrounding everybody else. So it's very easy sometimes to pick a stat that sounds bad or looks bad. Oh my God. You know, my manager only has 50% success rate on transfers. What if that's like in the 90 percentile? Anything above that is astronomically good. Suddenly it changes everything. So it's a great. I'd love you to give us more detail on that, Sean. I'd love to get more detail on that, my friend, because I'm so intrigued by that kind of stuff. I really, really am. Raheem Sterling has been banned from using the Chelsea first team facilities. Wow. Listen, this is just so interesting. It's just so interesting. And we're going to talk about this more on the Top 6 show later. A big debate with the Chelsea boys today about this situation. And I don't think Raheem Sterling should have made a statement. I stand by that. He's probably the instigator behind this being a public conversation. But I didn't like what Man United did to Jadon Sancho. I thought making him eat his lunch in his car, banning him from the facilities, making him train with the kids, I felt it was over the top. And it did not help Man United last season create a winning environment and a winning culture at the football club. It didn't work. And my concern for Chelsea is that this backfires on them. As a Man United fan, I hope it backfires on them. Of course, I don't want any of my rivals doing well. But when I'm being dispassionate and objective, I worry about this for Chelsea. This isn't just one player. There is about between 10 and 20 of them that they have stated are not training with the first team. Sterling had been banned. They're pushing Chalobah out. A number of players are according to Raheem Sterling, are upset at the treatment that they have faced. This could create a really toxic environment internally. A lot of Chelsea fans hope that it will not, and I understand that. But there are lots of Chelsea fans online that believe it is. They believe that Chelsea's having its heart ripped out. And I think ignoring those voices and just saying it's all going to be okay because it shows a ruthless streak that's going to get them back to the top, only considering that as the only possibility at this juncture, I think is crazy. The way this works is by anybody that's disgruntled has to be gone by the end of this transfer window. By hook or by crook, they have to be out of the football club. If they remain, how is this sustainable for a year with these individuals feeling this way inside the club? I don't see how it is, personally. So give us your thoughts, give us your feelings on that. But that's crazy. Banned from the facilities. Wow. That is huge. Terry, a question out of today's context: will we see a football terrace of other leagues like Serie A, etc.? Hello, Bash. Hope you're well, mate. Maybe one day. Maybe. Look, we've got a few announcements coming up very, 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 very soon. Some really big announcements to do with my new channel, The Squad, which like a lot of people have. Oh, we haven't done much with it. Like, yeah, we did some testers last year. We've got some big stuff coming, so don't you worry about that. Some really big stuff coming there, and yeah, maybe that's part of our. You'll see. I don't want to reveal anything, mainly because there's thieves. If I start talking about things before we're ready to launch them, it's actually happened to me a load of times. There was a production company I was working with a number of years ago, and I pitched a number of ideas into them, and they said no at the time. They said I haven't really got the budgets. I've then gone off since, and I left their production company and been doing my own thing. They have systematically produced every single show that I said to them would be a good idea when I was working there. So I've learned now, until I know for a fact that someone's going to do something and the money's there, I don't tell no one shit. I don't tell them nothing. So many ideas of mine that I've seen that other people do that I've spoken to is crazy. But there we go. Best case scenario for Arsenal on Sterling. Oh, okay. On Sterling, Arsenal inquired, but that's as far as it goes. Wants to stay in London. Arsenal was the best option for him. Chelsea got zero leverage. Would you take him? Arsenal fans, would you take Raheem Sterling? Would you take him? I really want you to, tell me. Tell me. I'm intrigued. I want to know. I want to understand. Let me know, people. Would you take him? Mainly people saying no. No. Lol, 325,000 a week. Cut price, of course. I'd take him on those conditions. I hear you. Do you know what it is for me? And I'm going to be really, 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 really honest about this. A bit like Ben Chilwell. I would kind of like Raheem Sterling at Manchester United in the hope that it works to go, way Liverpool, way Chelsea. That's what I'd like to do it for. It's purely, I'd love it to work for a bit of banter, but I'm not prepared to take the risk of it not working. But in my heart of hearts, do I think Sterling is over the hill? Do I think Sterling is done? Do I personally think Sterling is finished? I don't, you know. I don't. Knock on wood or touch wood, I don't think he's done. I think he's just gone into a bad situation at Chelsea. I've got to get my vitamin C up today because I've got to have a stressful day because my daughter's boyfriend's coming around. They're only 6. They're just friends, really, but I'm just joking. But Freya always like to tell me their boyfriend and girlfriend. She's so funny. She's like, Daddy, you need to speak to him. You need to be nice to him. And you need to be polite to him. I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Kids. Let's have a look here. Gallagher was lucky. He managed to get a move when you could see how Sterling, etc., were being treated. This being so public makes them harder to sell, surely. I don't think it makes them harder to sell. I think it makes it harder for Chelsea to get a price they demand because you're publicly stating that you don't want these players. You therefore can't sell them as, they're an important asset to us. They're an important part of our first team. We really want them here. That becomes an impossible sales point because you're publicly stating they're not needed. So that's what Chelsea have lost in this, is they've lost their leverage. They've lost their negotiation ability. Get her on a prenup. That's a bit much, but do you know that's really funny as well? My kids have got these Amazon Fire tablets, and they're a bit old now, a bit slow and a bit clunky. And they've been asking for an iPad. How they know what an iPad is, I don't know really, but they do. So I've said, okay, but I want to teach them to share. I want to teach my kids to share. Like when me and my brothers were little, my dad would buy us like Mega Drives and PlayStations, typically only at Christmas, I will add, and he didn't buy us one each. This is for you, Terry and Daniel, my big brother and me, and you share it. And I think it was a really good technique to teach children how to share properly. So I bought one yesterday. It's coming today. And I sat them down yesterday evening. They had showers, brushed their teeth. We sat down and said, look, I've ordered you an iPad. It's coming tomorrow. I said, but you got to share it. And Freya gave me this look. She gave me this look. My first thought was, I've spoilt these kids too much. She went, Daddy, how expensive was it? I couldn't believe this is kind of out of her mouth. So what do you mean, how expensive is it? She went, how expensive was it? I said, very expensive. She went, oh, could you not get a slightly cheaper one? I was like, why? She went, well, if you get a slightly cheaper one, then you could get 2 and I don't have to share. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my days, my kids are living a life that I could only have imagined. And I'm not even rich. Do you know what I mean? It made me die. I couldn't believe it. Could you buy 2? Because I don't want to share. And I literally said to her, like, this is exactly why I'm teaching you to share it. But my daughter's in love with being like a YouTuber and a content creator. All she does now with her little fire thing on my phone is make YouTube videos and TikToks. Obviously, she don't post them anywhere because she's not having a channel at her age. But she's like, Daddy, I want to be like you. That's all she does now, which is quite nice and cute. And I give her some pointers and tips. I'm gonna bought her a little. She hasn't told us. I bought her a little tripod. She can put her phone on and do it properly. But yeah, bless. Easiest to gaslight, what you were talking about. I have no idea what that means, son. No idea. PSG and Manchester United are in advanced talks for Manuel Ugarte, loan with an obligation formula. Man United are optimistic. PSG have stuck to their 60 million valuation throughout, but clubs are much closer to an agreement now. PSG prepared to let talks run into next week if needed. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Happy to get him. Happy to get him. I mean, what you also got to remember in the early reports as well, it said that United only wanted the price to be lowered if we had to buy him this season. The fact that we're not going to pay for him until next season, I think Man United are happier with that, so it's all good. Chilwell is going to Man United. That's why you are loaning that bum from PSG. Who said we're getting him? Where are the reports that Man United have made the inquiry for Ben Chilwell, Mr. Undertaker? Where? I'm still scared of the Undertaker, by the way. Not you, the user, the real Undertaker. I'm still scared of him. He's one wrestler that I've remained scared of until this day. KJ, you coming on? No. Okay, cool. He turned his camera on. I thought he was coming on backstage. I thought he was coming on. I hope Cancelo and Pep can reconcile. Well, I don't know what's going on there. Chilwell more likely to go Newcastle. I agree. Yeah, plus the Athletic have said that Man United are not signing a left back. I think that's true up until now. I think if we're going to sign anybody else from this point onwards, I think it would be another midfield player, maybe an attacker. I just think with what we've signed and who we have in this, when you think Shaw's going to play some games, you've got Amas, Mazwari has been signed, you've got Delo, we've got the Sandro, we've got Delict, we have Yoro, we've got Maguire. We've got enough. I want it to improve over the course of time, but we certainly have enough as of right now, in my very, very, very humble opinion. There's a comment there. It's from Stratchbox Steve. He says Sterling should look for that Atalanta move. Gasperini revives careers and has done it for years. It's a really great shout, Steve. That's a really, really great shout there. And I think I feel a bit for Sterling, because I feel that it's just sometimes there's a great song that was I think written and produced by Barry Manilow. And one of the lines from it is that we had the right love at the wrong time. And I think that can happen to football players. You could be the right player at the wrong time for a club. And Sterling joined Chelsea just as the shit hit the fan. And that doesn't excuse his performances. But let's be honest with you. Barring Palmer, Gusto in moments, for periods, in the last 2 years, genuinely, who has stood out and been very good for Chelsea? Barely anybody. So I think that you have to kind of keep that energy when it comes to criticizing players. And I'm going to be fair, because I've done that at Man United as well. So there we go. Sterling wants to stay in the Prem. Yeah, we know that, but this is the thing, Matt. You do this all the time. That's irrelevant to Steve's point. Steve is stating what he thinks Sterling should do to revive his career. Sterling wanting to stay in the Premier League is irrelevant to Steve's point. If you say, Matt, what I want to do is tattoo my face, and I say, look, I really think you might regret that in future. And you say, yeah, but what are you saying that for, Terry? But I really want to do it. It's not a rebuttal to what I'm saying. Come on, Matt. Come on. Oh, God. 35 million they're going to get for Cancelo. That's a good deal if they get that, It's a very, very good deal if they walk away with that amount of money. And it's here. Duplessis says, Man United have moved well. No shiny well beaters, but everyone they have signed looks good and solid. What a base to work from. I agree. I agree. And I think what we've really done at Manchester United, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think the base, I think we have raised the floor, raised the base of the technical ability, which should make our style of football come alive. I think what can happen when you sign a superstar is they walk in and everything isn't quite right. And they come in and go, ugh, training facilities are bad, or the team isn't quite right, or the balance of the squad isn't there. And I feel that I don't want to call these players prima donnas, but I do understand that they're at a point in their life and in their career where they kind of want to be in places where it isn't a project, where it's just, it's very good. And every summer's let's just replenish the squad a little bit. but you're fighters, you're contenders, you're always there or thereabouts. I think some of these players don't want to go into a club where you've got to do 2 or 3 years of hard graft as a club and as a team to get back to that level, which is why it was easier for Declan Rice to be added to the Arsenal team last year. Declan Rice being added 3 years ago could have been a whole different scenario. Really could have been. You know, if you'd have added Erling Haaland to Man City, he wouldn't have been playing 10 years ago. But say Erling was 10 years younger and he joined City 10 years ago, it may have been a slightly different outcome. Or 15 years ago, it might have been a slightly different outcome. I think they've had the money for about 15 years now. The timing is really key. The problem is with a lot of football fans is we want everything now. We live in the world of instant gratification. I want that movie, I'm going to download it now. I want that album, I'm going to download it now. I want that TV, I've ordered it, it's coming in 24 hours from Amazon Prime. We live in that world now, but not everything can be built that quickly. Not everything can be fixed that quickly. Time is so key. And it isn't of the essence in that regard. Terry, when will United stop being branded a rebuild? So I think, look, it depends on how long you're saying it takes to fix. Man United have had loads of failed rebuilds and attempts at rebuilds over the last 11 years, but they're failures. The new owner, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, has said this is going to be a 3 to 4 year process. So we are in that stage. However, it doesn't mean you get the same excuses the whole way through. So do I expect us to be as good as Manchester City this season? No. But in 2.5, 3 seasons' time, I expect that gap to be much, much closer, even though you're still in that rebuild process. But once that squad is built, once that team is in title contention, once that team is consistently doing well in Champions Leagues or consistently performing at a higher octane level, the rebuild is essentially complete, and you're now just in that mode of preserving what you have, like Real Madrid do, like Man City are doing, and like Liverpool are at. Liverpool are not in a rebuild. There's a transition to a new manager, but you're still a brilliant team that challenged for the league title. So it depends. Your performance defines when it's over. If, though, you're 5, 6, 7 years in, you haven't got any better, it's just a failure. It's just a complete failure. And if it's the same people running it, there's no optimism at changing. So therefore, you're just fucked. That's the technical term I would use. Terry, I rarely do this, but I think United are going to shockingly win the Premier League this year. De Ligt and Martinez will transform this. Listen, I'm trying not to laugh because I love hearing that. I can't see it. I can't see it. I would love what you're saying to be true. I would love what you're saying to happen. And a few people said it last night on the stream, but I don't believe it. I would love it to be true. And I would love to be wrong about this. I can't see us winning the league, but by God, would I love it. Can you imagine? We fix the structure, we fix the culture, we start to build. And just that by itself is enough to kickstart the mentality back towards a winning one that yields. I mean, you could argue winning, barring Leicester, if Man United won it this season, barring Leicester City's title win, it would be the biggest underdog story ever. And when I say underdog, forget our names, Man United, forget how much money we've wasted in the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I'm talking about based on everybody's expectations at the beginning of the season, to go on and win it. I don't think that barring Leicester, there's no bigger underdog story. That's why, though, I don't see it happening, because those things are 1 in a million, 1 in a billion. I don't think it will happen. We need to improve so much more. Also, Leicester, when they did it, Leicester weren't competing against a team of Arsenal's quality. I would say now Liverpool, Arsenal, and City now are better than all the other top teams that were around between 2014 and 2016, 2017. These guys, 2016 maybe. These teams are all better than all those sides. So you've also got to look at what you're competing against as well. But no, if Man United this season become a really good side, but we're competing against the quality of the 14-15 season, then plausible, but not the standards too high right now. Just like that Leicester team wouldn't have won it between 2005 and 2010. Those teams are too good. They wouldn't have won it between 1996 and 2002. Those teams were too good. In fact, that Leicester team wouldn't have won it anywhere between the mid-90s and 2010. All of those Man United, Arsenal, and Chelsea title-winning teams, plus who we were competing against, the Liverpools, the Arsenals, the Chelseas, like the competitors, were all just so good. Leicester were brilliant to do what they did, but they did it in a little period where your Liverpools and your Cities and your Man Uniteds and your Arsenals and Chelsea were all well off their standard. It was almost like a perfect storm. So, no, I don't think Man United can do it. But by God, I hope and pray that you are right. I want you to be right, my man. Terry, I get you, but you can't forget your name. It's still Man United. No, I understand that. Most people wouldn't call it an underdog story if we did, because we're Man United and we spend money. But as I've said, when I'm using the phrase, I'm giving you the context of how I'm using it. So let's not take it out of context. Based on everybody's predictions, most people are predicting us to come between 4th and 10th. So then to go on and win it, tell me another time, other than Leicester, a team's been predicted to finish that poorly and won the league. I don't think you better tell me one, personally. Any fan in our fan base who says we can win the league at this point, please pass me that weed so I can take it off you. Joshua Jack here says, Chilwell, no thanks, injury prone like Luke Shaw. Yeah, that's why I wouldn't personally take him as well. That would be that's my personal issue with him, too injury prone. If United win the league, I'll come on the show and eat my shirt. Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that, my friend. Although we are joint top of the league now. Of course, I play, I kid, I joke. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in this morning. We're live at 5 p.m. today. This video is going to transfer you through to it now. So don't leave the terrace now. Stay with us. Stay on the thing. Click on the link. Bookmark it for later so you're not late for that show. I want to shout out StocksFC. If you haven't signed up to a StocksFC account, get it done. Seriously, it's such a fun platform. I'm not even putting that much money into it. I'm already about £400 up. Match days are amazing with it. I have the website open. I on the rewards page, watching my players perform, who's getting the goals, who's getting the assists, who's performing well, who wins, watching my rewards tick up. And one game week, and I'm already made a £16 return on the rewards. So I look at it and think, yeah, I might this season make 70 to 80% of what I've invested back just through the rewards. If I'm picking the right players, that is, of course. So go and check it out. It's a really, really great platform. A lot of fun as well. But as I say to everybody, don't use any money on there that you can't afford to lose. Use disposable income only, not your rent money, not your mortgage money, not the food money for your kids. Don't be that irresponsible. I don't want you using it if you're in that space. You know, so just use what you can afford to lose, because if your football knowledge is bad, you're going to buy bad players and you're going to do a bad job. Okay. So go and check it out, though. I find it a lot of fun. We'll see you at 5 p.m., my people. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.